Since Mahomes, we ain't seen his ass. But I'm not mad at him. He still got love for us. We got love for him. We got some guys like I think John Perez. You've been the senior agent for a number of years. Been on this panel, represented a lot of guys from this game that's going on to the NFL. See us all over, and we're excited about the crew we had. Sean, Dr. Lee just met you. He's a CFL certified guy. And we're excited to have all these guys here. I'll just go down the line, and what we'll do is each panelist will do like a quick blurb on who you are, what you do, okay? Then after that, we're gonna open it up for questions. This is important, okay? There's no book on going pro, all right? So it's a very closed off industry. There's not a lot of information out there. If you reach out to scouts, sometimes they don't respond, all those types of things. You wanna know about Pro Day. These guys have been doing it a long time. They're veterans of the sport, and they're opening up their brains so you guys can pick it a little bit, and it'll help you go further. And it's gonna, for us, a secret weapon for getting guys from small schools to the next level, to kind of level the playing field. So first up, we have all the way to my far right, Mr. Jerry Hardaway, 26-year NFL scout. With the Arizona Cardinals, also scouted for another organization, Fritz Pollard, NFL Scout of the Year. He's very decorated, scouted guys like Anquan Bolden, Larry Fitzgerald, and the list goes on. I don't know them all, but we're excited to have Jerry Hardaway. Please give it up for Mr. Jerry Hardaway. We've got Ken Mall. He's been with us for at least 7 or 8 years. Nine. Damn, time flies. But he don't age, so we love him for that. Long-time NFL scout, Jacksonville Jaguars, Cleveland Browns, Combine Scout, Director of Player Personnel for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers of CFL. It probably keeps going on, and we're not going to do that. Long-time college coach, our Executive Director of Scouting for the FCS Bowl and the Tropical Bowl. For everything that we do, he's been a big impact on what we do, and he's a good resource to have here. If you have questions for scouts, these are the guys you're gonna ask, all right? Please give up Ken Mall. Then we have my good friend, Sean Russell. I've been on the panel a few years, been doing big things in football and baseball, and that's NFL certified contract advisor. That's important, all right? There's a lot of people who run around in this industry that are not certified agents, all right? So if you're talking to somebody and he's not an NFL certified agent, you gotta find out who's the NFL certified agent in his agency. It's very important. Some guys go through the process and never met their actual agent, okay? So it's very important to make sure guys are NFL certified. They'll talk about that. But you can look guys up on the NFLPA website. Please give it up to Sean Russell. He's a Florida guy, so he's used to this weather. Next up, we got John Perez, my good friend. He's been on this panel for a number of years. I don't even know how many. It's been a big help to us in our game, representing a lot of players. Division, one of our marquee names from this game. Division III kicker, Miami Dolphins, Andrew Franks, led the Miami Dolphins in scoring in 2015. Was here, didn't have an agent, right? John represented him. He led the Miami Dolphins in scoring in 2015, D3. So you can make it from anywhere. You just got to put in that work. Please give it up, John Perez. And then last up, we have somebody new to our panel, Dr. Lee, CFL certified contract advisor, right?
Yes.
Agent. And we're excited to have him, and CFL is a resource for all you guys. And CFL is not easy to make. All right? I want you guys to understand that. So, everybody wants to be NFL bound. I get it, right? That's everybody's dream. But the reality is, don't sneeze at the CFL. Okay? When I was an agent a long time ago, and I've been to open trials for the CFL in Houston or wherever, and it's all studs, and there's 250 people for one CFL team trial. All right? So the fact that we had 5 or 6 GMs from the CFL here is a big deal. Testament to you guys, right, and the talent level. but understand that everything's not NFL. There's CFL, there's XFL, there's USFL, there's all those leagues, and don't sneeze at them because we had a kid in here, a D2 kid from the FCS kid from Del State. You know, our rosters are super talented, so we move guys up, right? We pick certain guys to go to the Tropical Bowl. That guys have been evaluated by our scouts that are on staff, and the reality is he's a guy that didn't get picked. That doesn't mean you can't go on to the next level. I want you to understand that because the opportunity is this weekend, not in January. That's the second opportunity. But this is the opportunity. He went on, led the FC Fan Control Football League in rushing, and went on to get drafted by the XFL. You know, so those opportunities are there. You just got to take advantage of them and really figure out how long you want to dedicate time in your career to chasing football. Some of you might, some of you have great degrees and go on and do that. That's a blessing. Thank you, Dr. Lee. Please give it up for Dr. Lee. We're not going to keep you long. We're going to get started real quick. Each guy, very brief, please. Very brief on who you are and what you do, and then we'll open up for questions. At any point, any guys are hungry, we got some pizza slices in the back. Grab them, and we're just gonna multitask and get it done. All right, sound good?
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Jerry Hardaway, you can go first.
Greetings, y'all. Mike is going to tell you about my past a little bit. But before I even start, I want you to look at yourself. And in looking at yourself, I've looked at you guys out there. And I've looked at you, some of you have tattoos. And it's religious tattoos. Some of them are praising and honoring the Almighty. So, before I say anything else, I want you to just look at yourself and look to the heavens and smile and think about the young men that didn't make it through the season at Virginia. Think about the young men in Florida, in South Florida, that did not make it through the season because of somebody's mental lack of vision of life. Take a minute and just look at yourself, and then look to the heavens. And I say to you now, after that, know that you're blessed. Yeah, I had a great career. I'm retired now. I can stand in front of you and say, I sat where you sat once before, at one day. But something hit me. It said, you know you're finna finish the university in 3 years? You know, you scored touchdowns. You did this, you did that. But you're living now. What are you going to do 20 years from now? 30 years from now? I had no clue that I would even be living that long. Fortunately, I'm still living, and I'm 71 years old. And I can move like James Brown. You saw me, some of you with the shirt on today. A lot of men not able to do that. But I'm saying that to say this to you. I talk about, they're going to talk about the business part of it. I want to talk life. Everybody is not going to play in the NFL. For 27 years, I went around to universities all over the country, and I saw them. I saw the great ones. I'm hearing one, and see, I hated to go first because I wanted to, like I said, talk to you about life. And I can't reach in and just take up all the time. But I want you to just know that tomorrow might be your last day with the past. Think about what's going to happen down the road. Yeah, we scout you, they scouting you. I did that when I was, like I said. But it's like going to Baskin Robbins. You got 37 flavors. In the NFL, there's 32 teams. Each one of them got a flavor. And you may not be that flavor. What are you going to do down the road? I'm going to leave you with something, and I talked to a young man earlier. I'm going to say, if you want to enjoy life and see many happy days, keep your tongue from speaking evil and your lips from telling lies. Turn away from evil and do good. Search for peace and work to maintain it. That's going to carry you through life. Now, I'll be available for questions, what the scouts look for, and all that when the rest of them finish. Thank you.
And Mike, pretty much let you know my background, and it is good to know I coached on the 1AA, it's called FCS now, level at the University of Richmond. Been to all different kind of places that some of you guys have been, Appy State, those type. But when I scouted, I went from Ohio Wesleyan to Ohio State, from Alabama State and Tuskegee, those type schools, all the way to Alabama and Auburn. So I've seen it all, been out to UCLA and to University of Maine. And so been to every state in the country except for Alaska and Montana, the only two states I've been to. So I've got a variety, I guess. I've seen it all. And then I coached at the University of Louisville. And what Jerry said is really, when he said it, it hit me again. 1973 was the last time I had a helmet on. That was against Cincinnati at Nippert Stadium. Remember the weather and everything. Last time I played ball, last time I strapped it up. So, but I remember that distinctly. I don't remember a lot of other things, some of the wins, some of the losses, but this might be, for some of you guys, the last time you strap your helmet on, last time you lace up your cleats. So, remember that. That's not being a downer, that's just being real. That's being real. But you can ask me a lot of questions about the CFL too. And then Mike's right about that. It's about a 7-month commitment. I'd have to go into it. In other words, you don't have to live up there and all that if you didn't want to, or you could. But you can make a decent living up there. So, but yeah, 15 years of college coaching, 13 years in scouting in the NFL, and then I also was at the CFL for 4 years. But I did some work for ESPN and actually scouting for them and so on. So. What Jerry says, a lot of it is something you really need to think about. But if you just want to ask these surface questions, I think that all of us up here will be able to answer those for you tonight. So, thank you.
How's it going? As Mike said, my name is Sean Russi. I'm a 6-year NFL and MLB agent. I'm now the lead agent at Always Us Sports. You probably met the partner already, DeVale Zimmerman, over the weekend. I'm got some experience representing guys like yourself. My first player came from this game 6 years ago. My most recent client, who's on the Raiders now, came through the same all-star circuit. So I've got experience with guys like yourself. But other than that, that's pretty much it for you guys.
My name is John Perez of Perez Sports. I'm based in Newark, New Jersey. Next year, 2023 will be the 18th NFL draft that we're representing players. This game is very special to me, as Mike said. Mike's done a great job way back when nobody was really doing this type of game. I just want to say thank you, Mike. It's getting tougher and tougher because there's more and more games and they're copying your model. Thank you. All right. Based in Newark, New Jersey, NFL and CFL certified. And in terms of the football evaluation stuff, you guys can't have two better resources here. So listen to what they say. When it comes to the agent selection process, I'm here to answer questions and at least at a minimum help educate you guys on what you should be looking for in an agent. As Mike said, certifications are important. NFL, CFL certification. I'm going to ask you certain questions about your background, and you should ask the agents too. Arrest history, suspension history, all those things are important. In a private setting, you should ask your prospective agent the same thing. If your agent has been arrested in his past or her past, I think that's a factor you should take into consideration, just as we or the teams take into things in consideration. So with that, I know we have limited time, but I'm happy to talk to anybody and answer any questions.
Guys, give yourself a round of applause. Duke League, a little about me. I own my own agency, Sports Consulting Services. About me personally, I'm a retired Army Brigadier General, 1 star. People always call me Colonel, so I just say, yeah, Colonel Lee. I'm actually General Lee. The 32 years in the Army, played collegiate football. There's a great university right here, and also baseball. The Army let me do that when I still enlisted after the first Gulf War. And so, collegiate athletics is near and dear to my heart. I've been biting at the chops since I retired from the Army in 2016 to do my own thing as an agent, so I just love it. And I love the small collegiate athlete. In D2, D3, NAIA, both Division I and Division II. Have some Division I guys as well. I do law sports. I got 8 clients right now playing Major League Baseball, what I'm certified as, MBL, PA guy. I have 2 guys in the XFL, 3 I was already signed contracts with the USFL coming back from last year. And I got 4 guys in the CFL. So so I love being around athletes. I like to talk the athlete jargon and stuff. And hey guys, I'm just so proud of you that you've taken the next step. And take another one. Like everyone said, professional athletics, this could be your last time tomorrow. So what are you going to do next? What are you going to do next? Think about it. So thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
I'll say this: we started this panel, and the resources and the value that you can get right here. Right? To be honest with you, every college football player entering the draft should have this before they even sign to an agent. I know some of you guys are agents. This isn't necessarily a recruiting event for somebody to take you away from any type of agent. This is for you guys to have information about selecting an agent. What does an agent do? How does pro day? How do you send film? All those things. You guys understand that? So what we're going to do is we're not going to be bashful to the panel. We're going to ask those questions that you might be thinking, and there might be 4 other guys thinking the same thing as well. I ask the questions because I'm telling you, you're not going to be able to ask again. Some guys sign to agents, and those agents won't even answer a lot of these questions that you want to know the process. You understand? So we're going to do that. We're going to open up the panel, the questions, and then we're going to get out of here. All right? Anybody have any questions? Stand up and say your name and your position in school before you ask the question. If you don't
My name's Isaiah. I play corner. I went to Assumption. Can you expand on how the process of the CFL? I know you said 7 months, but can you just expand on that?
Well, and I say 7 months. I mean, to me, if you're going to be a professional athlete at any level, any L, I call it any league, it's a full-time job. So the off season. But I'm just saying, when I was with Winnipeg, and it's been 10 years now, so I want to make sure. But they're still playing 18 games with 2 preseason games, okay? And their preseason, 9 days, something like that. It's not like the NFL. So when you got to hit the ground running. And if you do have an opportunity to get with a team, and they're evaluating 2 days later, boom, we got to get rid of these 3 guys and bring some more guys in. So, it's a little bit faster moving pace, the game itself, but the personnel end of it can, be a little different than the NFL. But to basically, I remember our guys would get up that lived in the States, because half the team basically is from Canada, so half the team has to be Canadian, right? I don't know if it's exactly half, but it's pretty much half. And the other half can be from the States, and that, that's how that works. And there's a couple of rules about who can play and when and all that. But to answer your question, you get up there a day or 2, 3 days before you actually, if you don't live up there, then you go through your 9 days, your 2 preseason games, 18 games with an open date, and then now you're around Thanksgiving. Right before 2 weeks, they play their Grey Cup the Saturday. It's the Saturday or the Sunday after Thanksgiving, correct, Philip? The Saturday or the Sunday?
It's just right before.
Right before. Okay, I'm sorry. Right before. When we played, I thought it was after. But anyway, so and then from there, there might be a little tie up loose ends. You can be back in the States. So But some, I would say there's a certain percentage of players that will live up there, right, and work up there, depending on where it is. But, so that's what I was saying, it's not, you don't have to be up there for 7 months if you don't want, for more than 7 months, unless you just really want to. That's what I meant by that.
Hey, folks, hey, guys, what he's also said about being ready, I can tell you, I had a guy right now, that's on Claiborne. They called him on the day of training camp. Edmonton Elks. That guy just talked to them all about it yesterday. They called him on the day of training camp. They said, is he ready to go? The day before the veterans report, the rookies report. So we'll get him on plane 4 hours. That's exactly what happened. So you have to be ready.
Yeah.
You don't come to get in shape. You're already in shape. If not, in 48 hours, you're going home.
The doctor will talk to you more about that, like if you're even considering the CFL, because I don't want to stay on that, but you got to get a passport, like now. You know, you got to have one because, you know, right, you got to get one. It's better to have one. It is good for 10 years, right, fellas? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so if you're even considering that in the back of your mind, go get your passport, and then it takes care of it.
Next question. Anybody have a question? How do you get in the pro day? Everybody has a pro day here?
So, my name's Adam Riggler, Notre Dame College, I'm a lineman. So like what I'm struggling with right now is like you said, pro days, like being from a smaller school up in NDC and South Euclid, like is there an exact like pro day like Akron or something like that you guys can throw on like that you can the choosing process of getting, or is it just like whatever you get in the best way to?
I'm going to try to answer that, but I think I haven't been doing that. Jerry hasn't been hands-on doing that in a few years, okay? So sometimes the rules change a little bit, but it used to be you can go, you know, you can have it at your school. If your school doesn't have a pro day, then you can do it at your hometown or within like 15 miles.
With the state or
With the whole
metro
state?
State.
The whole
Usually
state.
the school varies up with the bigger one.
Okay, yeah,
Except
but
for
I mean, but
Louisiana,
it's the state.
every school outside of LSU goes to the where the Saints play at for theirs. Yeah.
I think John can put
Yeah, so
guidance on this.
that would be,
So the NFL rule as it is now, whichever school in your state in which you play, you are technically eligible to go to that pro day. So for example, if you go to school at Hobart in New York, upstate New York, you could go to the University of Buffalo pro day if they allow you in. So that's the big question, that's number one. So any school in your state in which you play, you are eligible to go to that school's pro day if they allow you in. That's number one. The second rule is you can go to a pro day within the metropolitan area, and the NFL is going to define that, and you got to see if you're in. Generally speaking, within 60 miles of your hometown or high school. So that can change things. If you play at Hobart, but you come from Cincinnati, Ohio, technically you can go to the University of Cincinnati's pro day if they allow you in. This is all caveat is if they allow you in. Now each school will have whether or not they, will let you in, depends on number one, if they've allowed outside players in before, you gotta look at that history. And if they have, what are their rules? Generally speaking, schools will say, we want 2 scouts to recommend you to come to our pro day, otherwise you can't come. So again, that's where an agent comes into play, that's where maybe your head coach at your school, sometimes they have connections at the bigger school. So again, if you play at Hobart and there's no pro day you can get into within the state of New York, but you live in Cincinnati, Ohio, maybe your coach at Hobart is from Cincinnati, or knows the coaching staff, or somebody on that staff that can say, hey, I got a guy, can we get him in? And it goes from there. So there's a lot of different ways, and sometimes you don't even know when the pro days are now, so it's difficult. You might not know when they have the scheduled dates until February. So it's important to, number one, is your school having a pro day? If not, then you gotta get on kind of that plan of attack with an agent, or if you don't have an agent, with yourself and your coaching staff. Identify which schools are having pro days in your state or the metro area of your hometown or high school, and then figure out how do I get them. All right.
Good one.
Yes. You kind of answered it, but Brennan Ray, safety, Montclair State. Is there any other way besides a pro day? Is there like workouts, things like that you could work your way up to get into a pro day or anything like a workout? private workouts?
Yeah, take it.
We'll follow on the pro day. In this process, since you guys, this is your draft eligible year, pro day is the number one thing you have to do. If you can't get into a pro day, you are at a serious disadvantage, number one. So with respect to any type of combine that you see out there to sign up and pay for, be aware. It has to be one that's either legitimate or has a reputation that those results are done by veteran scouts or people who know how to do a stopwatch, okay? So I would be just a little bit of red flags of any of these combines that are out there that say, hey, come to us and we'll get your numbers out there, you'll get it filmed if you don't have a pro day. Other than that, unless a team really likes you here and they find out maybe they can get you into a pro day somewhere, or they say we want a private workout at your school. So as you go through this process, you gotta get into a pro day. I mean, that's as kind of as straight as I can be. And then from that pro day, sometimes private workouts occur, right? Post pro day, which is March, April. So in terms of outside of a pro day, are there any type of combine events other than the official one in the NFL? It's going to be up to you to kind of use your best judgment. Do you want to pay for a combine somewhere that these ANC combines are pretty good, but that's more along the lines of if you're kind of a free agent and it's after your draft year, you know, where you want to kind of get out there and just get some new numbers. But during your draft eligible season, which is now, from now to March, you want to try to secure a quota. All right?
Hey, John, can I cap you up on yours, please? Hey, what John said, you know, hey, it's a pro workout. It's the pro days. If not, your coach got to marry you up with a bigger one. It's a private workout. It's these games, and in the CFL, you know, 6 of the 9 teams come to America, and all 6 go to Tampa, Florida, for an open tryout. And they sign dudes right out of those open tryouts. They sign them, or they sign them. They invite them to training camp out of that stuff. So you have to kind of figure out with your agent or your dad how are you going to do it, which ones to do.
Yeah, and I know you guys probably have a lot of pro day questions just to kind of finalize what these guys have said. The reality has become harder for small school guys because big school used to let a lot of smaller school guys in. They had a relationship, you know, with Notre Dame or Cal PA or something like that. Some guys would do it. Then the NFL started NFL regional combines a number of years ago. Have you guys heard of that? They used to do those, and a lot of small school guys, we had a lot of success at them. Unfortunately, you know, you could pay, and the NFL put it on, and you could run a combine. NFL ran combines for anybody who was NFL draft eligible. So we had a lot of players in there because we let you guys know, hey, here's the link. Registration opens today. You can get it, and it doesn't exist. So right now, there are some combines that are run by private groups, and unfortunately, they're not run by folks who the NFL believes are certified official people. You understand what I'm saying? So the numbers, the results are almost, are pretty much somewhat useless. All right, just gonna keep it real with y'all. All right, now listen, if they're timed by Jerry Hardaway or Ken Mall, they're official results. But unfortunately, the NFL has actually put a caveat on events running combines for the NFL because they have the NFL combine, and that's kind of the premier thing they're trying to market and brand. If not, we would put on a pro day like we did years ago to help kids out. The CFL workouts that start kind of a little later, many times like Danny McManus and a lot of those CFL guys, they're open tryouts, but they also rely on those times because they're official times from CFL guys, and most of those CFL guys are NFL guys. All right. Now those pro days kind of happen, I think, more in like a little bit late in the process in March, April, May. You have to look out for them. But that would be right now the best bet, but for getting into a major school pro day. Does that make sense? All right. Anybody?
I'm Tyler Roberts. I played HVAC at Merrimack College. So my school does have a pro day since we're FCS, but I just kind of to go off your question, what are the rules regarding, like, say I wanted to do my pro day and then also attend Boston Colleges to potentially, you know, get in front of more scouts with the guys they have versus we have at my school?
As long as Boston College lets you in.
Same.
I mean, you can go to as many pro days as you can get into. right? So you could have one at your school, and then if Boston College allows you in, sure, but they're gonna have a process in terms of, they have allowed outside guys in the past, but honestly, COVID has changed everything for a lot of different reasons and ways. But with pro days, you're finding that the Merrimacks of the world and the Princetons and all the others, even those FCS schools have limited the Division II, III, and NIA guys, outside guys coming in. So, number one, it's great you have a pro day, all right? So you have something to focus on. But if you can get into other ones, sure. I would say this, if you kill it at your pro day, kind of rest on the numbers and you're good. But it just depends on your situation, your school situation, and whether or not you can get into it. But you can do as many as you can get into.
And with that said too, what John's is about to really tell you, if you marry up with someone else's pro day, you're probably gonna do it day two. You're probably, because they're gonna showcase their draft eligible athletes and their alumni. Because you got free agents out there, they just want another look. They come back and they get another look because they're graduate, or they played to the previous at their universities. And so if you're gonna marry up with Boston College as an example, you're probably gonna do it at the end on day two. That's how I've always seen it the last 6 years.
Just guys, before you continue, the other thing my client did last year, depending what big schools in your area, if he was at Missouri Western, University of Missouri was the closest. They did a D2 Pro Day hours before University of Missouri's Pro Day. You can look for that. It's a lot easier than begging the schools, but again, not all areas are gonna do that. I heard University of Texas is doing a D2 Pro Day this year. They're also joining up with some of the Cincinnati's and UCF to do their bigger Pro Day. So you have to look, because some of these Pro Days are not becoming just singular events now. They're becoming together, more scouts in one area, more schools in one area. So you have to keep your ears open, you have to talk to your coaches. That's stuff that even we won't know. Your coaches will be more direct to know that, hey, University of Missouri is having a D2 Pro Day, you're automatically eligible because you're, in a school in this state.
All right, and then as far as local, some NFL teams have local pro days. And you guys have any insight on that? Like, New Orleans Saints that has a local pro day for that's for.
They do it for all the schools outside of LSU this year. They're doing it.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't think I'll let you.
Like, some teams do local prospect day, which is after the pro days, usually around the first or second week of April. For example, the Giants and Jets, if you are any possible prospect of interest, if you are within their local jurisdiction, right, they may invite you in for their local day, which is usually by position drills, you're really not doing 40s and stuff. But you get to get into the facility, meet the coaches, you get to work out. So it is a great opportunity. I know Baltimore Ravens, Kansas City Chiefs, there's a lot of teams around the country that do it, not all of them do it. So it would be, do I go to a school within the area of that team, or am I from the hometown of the area of that team? So it just depends, and that'll be, as you go through the process, whether or not you're invited in, you get that call from the team to say, hey, come in April 7th, we're having our local day, we want you to come in, which is a great opportunity. So that's another potential workout that you were talking about along the process. But that's usually first or second week of April, about 2 weeks before the draft.
Anybody else in the back? You guys stand up, sir.
My name is Shaheem Hawthorne. I'm from South Carolina State / Towson. I have a question about what is the first thing that an NFL scout asks y'all in the process for y'all clients, and not just what they ask y'all, what they look for outside of like being a great athlete, because they wouldn't be scouting if they didn't know you can play football. So it's like, what do they look outside of what you can do on the field? So,
If I could step in before the agent. When a scout come knocking at the university door, like what I did as an area scout starting out, you got the combine scouts, national and blessed old guys coming in there, identifying, he's a player, he's productive, he's good at what he does. When a team scout would come in, like myself or Ken, I come in with my script. If you play an offensive guard, my staff coaching staff has set standards for that position. You got to be at least 6'3". At the least. At the best, 6'5", 6'4" in there. Weight, it's marked. He got to be at least 265. Anything else is a bonus. So what I'm trying to tell you, each position has a blueprint. And that scout, when he goes in there, he's looking at your body to see if you match up with that blueprint. Then, at the same token, he turns those tapes on and see what kind of production you're doing in that position. Does that make sense to you?
That makes sense.
All right. Then the agent
Well,
comes in.
okay. What I think you're getting at, they're gonna, like probably from when you were little, all the way up till now, they're gonna ask about your character. They're gonna ask about your work ethic. They're gonna ask about injuries. They're gonna spend a lot of time on that too. They're not gonna take a chance on a guy, even at a big school, but for sure a small school, that he's not a very good worker. I mean, you're done right there. They move on to the next guy. Because you were asking that, what other things other than football, right? Is he a hard worker? Is he the first one in, the last one out? All those kind of, is he smart enough football-wise? You know, so they're going to ask all those other questions that they cannot see on tape. And then actually, you can see that on tape sometimes. Guy drops a ball, you know, how does he react? And all those kind of, they look for everything. And all those guys in the stands, if you drop the ball, I'm just saying a receiver, and you hung your head, they write that down. Or if you're excited about being here, I saw a couple of guys, I mean, they're excited about being here. On the sideline, watching their teammates, all that. Everything that's tertiary stuff, I call, that all comes into the puzzle. So that what you're asking, weight room, work ethic, are you a good teammate, can you learn, injury, and then they're going to flat out ask you, have you been in trouble? And you'd be foolish not to tell them the truth. Just tell them what happened. If there was an incident, tell them what happened, be honest, because they're going to find out anyway. So if they find out and you didn't tell them, then you're done, probably. Is that what you were asking though?
Yeah, I got another question.
Okay.
About that. So it's a thing that I had to do with a scout. It like fill out a questionnaire for the
Right.
NFL. It's like fill out a questionnaire.
Right.
So is that questionnaire? Because there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of athletes that fill out that questionnaire. So do they go off the name on the questionnaire, or they look at everybody's questionnaire like one by one by one by one by one?
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure I understand that question.
I think what you're saying is that when Ken come into the school, he's representing Indianapolis Colts. I come in, I'm representing the Cleveland Browns. I got a script. I'm gonna use that because that's what my organization want to know. Is your parents, does he have parents? Are they together? You know, the whole technical thing will be axed out. He might not want to know what your parents do, but that might not be of interest to him. It might not, for me, what you did last year don't mean nothing to me. I want to know what you're doing now. What do you have on the table right now in play? Character is a big thing in the NFL because of the times. Okay? Work habits, a big thing because of the money that you're going to be getting. They're not going to just throw away money just because, you know. Production on the field. It's a whole lot of little deals in there. Like I told you when I was talking to you earlier. Life. You're going to be getting ready. You working, son. It ain't no more mama's kitchen you sitting at. Fortunate if your father, you know, he ready for you to move on. Every Sunday, every Thursday, every Friday, every day the NFL is out there. Because if you don't be productive, rest assured there's somebody sitting there waiting, and that's life.
Just a really quick follow-up on that. The NFL questionnaire is a big deal. If they didn't want you all to fill it out, they wouldn't have you. They would have select guys fill it out, all right? The NFL questionnaires are provided to us by the Green Bay Packers specifically. They want every player to fill it out. For years, they've really been helpful in our game. And they, for years ago, also paid for our film. They don't anymore, but years ago they did. It's important to know a little insight on that because every NFL team that comes gets the NFL questionnaires. If they do not receive them, they go crazy. You understand that? So every single player here is being evaluated. You guys are being evaluated by the scouts that come. You're being evaluated by these two guys. Some of you guys are being evaluated by me if I'm not running around. You're all being evaluated. On top of that, our scouts are taking notes on all you guys because that's what they do as scouts, on top of those scouts. On top of that, every 32 NFL teams is going to evaluate you guys. What's special about this game, most people don't know, is because this game happens before each team breaks for Christmas break and scouts get together and do their national scouting meetings on who they're going to scout in the future. You guys get a drop on all those guys, all right? And this is the only game that does that currently. You know, I'm telling my secrets that scouts have given me feedback over the years on why we winning. Maybe I should not. Everybody here is trustworthy. But the reality is you're all being evaluated. If you take your jersey and game day, we've had this, and you switch your jersey with this guy here, I didn't want 77. I wanted whatever number. And you switch it 95, and I'm sitting at my house, and I get a phone call, and it's the Kansas City Chiefs, and they might be a team that wasn't here. And they say, Mike, what's up? I'm looking at the roster, I'm watching the game film. Who's 88? You understand? I don't have that on my roster, or it's switched, or I can't see it because he cut his jersey, right? So we tell you these things, pay attention to detail. So the guy goes and cuts his jersey up there, he don't have a number on. And the scouts will call me, who's this guy? I can't see his. Tell these guys not to cut their, so you're being evaluated. You understand what I'm saying? And every detail matters. That's why they measure every single one of you guys. It's a full process, and it's a fair process, and you got to be true to the process. All right? Does that help answer your question? All right.
Hey, Mike, can I cap you up on that?
Yeah.
First, thank you for coming from Orange Grove, South Carolina, because I'm from Sumter, South Carolina.
So you from something?
Yeah, so I appreciate that. Hey, stand up. I can tell you what I do as an agent. Each agent has their own little idiosyncrasies, what we use. I can tell you what from my guys just coming out of college. Ask this guy. The extensive background check I did for this guy, I represent him. Ask this guy what I did. I went to his position coach, went to his head coach. I called the University Police up, because I don't want the Edmonton Elks, who was asking about this guy yesterday. I don't want the Winnipeg, I don't want the Memphis Showboats. I don't want these teams saying, hey, you know, he was on a drug charge 2 years ago. Do you know it? Because I've had them tell me that. So I do an extensive background check on these guys to make sure that they're okay. And he'll tell anyone. What he likes about Duke League is what? I did that background check on him. Yeah. I asked his coach a bunch of hard questions. His position coach, everyone who knew himself. And so that's what a good agent will do that. Because I don't want to be signed. None of us want to be signed by stuff. You know, he got arrested for a DUI his sophomore year. He was only 20. Well, how come you didn't tell me that? Well, I want to know that. Because there's something, because we had to hit that stuff off. We got to let these teams know. I mean, I get Chris Jones, and Mike was giving me some help about this yesterday, taking up a lot of his times. Who's on the national team? Here, who plays on the national team? The blue team. Who's one of your coaches? David Gilbert. I represent him. He's been asking me too, since the season ended, about David Gilbert. And because this guy went on date with me yesterday, with David, and Mike gave me some help about that yesterday, taking up a lot of his time. The reason was, I said, well, I'll talk to him about at the FCS day on Friday. And they spent lots of minutes talking to me about David Gilroy, all three of the Edmonton Elks guys. And finally, after about 15, 20 minutes, I said, you want to talk to him? And Chris Jones said, hey, you want to call him up? I said, I'm going to go and get him. He's 30 yards right over here. Because they'd never seen him. I brought him right over to him. And they had an extensive conversation. And I think he's going to get invited to training camp because of that. And I didn't like taking my butt chewing from Mike
I-
because I have to take care of my guys. It's like golf with them. We have to take care of our guys. So yeah.
Yeah,
That's the part I never could told Mike yesterday. I just took my medicine. That's what I
gave you a little bit.
just take his medicine.
Yeah, I gave him just a little bit of medicine, but it's all good. You got me one.
Let me just, I think part of your question was, in essence, what's the role of the agent in that process, right? Let me keep it real with you and everybody here. When it comes to scouts like Mr. Hardaway and Mr. Mole, do you honestly believe that the agent, if he or she is worth their soul, is gonna change their mind on the evaluation of you? That's what they do, that's their job. The agent's role is to have communication from the player to the team and from the team to the player, and to help open up those avenues of opportunity. Any agent that guarantees you an opportunity, that you're gonna be guaranteed this in camp or trial or whatever it is, again, red flag. There's no guarantees in life other than, death and taxes is. So in that sense, these gentlemen know what they're looking at. So if a team comes to you and wants to talk to you as a potential prospect, having an agent that can really effectuate that communication honestly and openly, that has credibility, is critically important. Because I can tell you, if I was BSing Ken for years on players, and he knows I'm the agent for you, he's gonna say, oh, I can't, John's full of it. So their eyes don't lie when they watch the film, and they have a job to do. But the agent's gotta be able to honestly tell you what's going on with the team, and honestly tell the team what's going on with you. So that's very, very important. I think that helps answer your question to everybody.
Quick next question. All right in front. We'll come back.
Tyler Kalka, Lawrence Technological University quarterback. So I have two questions. One, going through the agent process, what is like some of the big things to look for when agents talk to you, trying to sign you, things like that? What is the biggest thing to look for from as a player?
Don't let them charge you a fee. I don't know how you guys feel about it. I've never noticed about if they're asking you for a fee. I've seen out there 200. What you guys seen? 250, 500, 750. Why you want to give them 750? If you're certified, NFLPA, CFLPA, I know none of us are charged a fee.
This is a good question. This is a great question because kind of the basic checklist should be obviously certifications, right? Are you certified? Which leagues are you certified with? There's only two leagues, the NFL and CFL, that actually do certification. You could technically represent players for XFL and USFL and not be certified at all. But I think if you want to cover all your bases, I'm just speaking about myself and what I've done, I think as a player to ask what certifications do you have as an agent? Because if you have just one or the other, how can you take advantage of all opportunities out there? Unless in that agency they have some agents that are CFL, some agents that are NFL, you need to know that structure. I think what's also important is, experience, competency, and credibility. How long have you been doing it? Give me some examples of players in my similar situation that you've helped in the past. And credibility. Who do you know in the leagues? What contacts do you have? This is all a people business. It's about relationships. So I can call up Ken Mole if he's with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and we're talking about a player because we've talked in the past about a player, right? Another past client. So relationships are important. Ultimately, it's going to be you guys. What's on film? What do you do in this game? What do you do at your pro day? And to have an agent that has had, again, that history to give you based on past examples is critically important. You should ask those questions. I think you should ask again. A lot of agents, not all of them, are licensed attorneys in whichever state. I'm a licensed attorney in New Jersey. I think it's important to know, hey, have you ever been suspended as an attorney? I might be clean as an agent, but I've been suspended multiple times as an attorney. You need to know that. So these are all kind of, I think, basic questions you should ask, at least a basic checklist. And then ultimately, I think it comes down to a gut feel. If you feel like this is a person I want to partner with and go into business with, then you go with it. Could be a new agent, could be a veteran agent, could be a big agency, could be small. It just depends on what you're looking for and how comfortable you feel. That's pretty much it.
And then one more question.
Oh, no, real quick, yeah, real quick.
My other question was, I keep seeing the new IFL league sign deal with the XFL league. Do you guys know anything about that and how that works and how the process works with that? Yeah, how's that?
Want to take a I'll take some. Les Moss was just here all day yesterday, right, Mike? Because I talked to him.
Yeah.
I mean, his Arizona Wranglers just won this year's IF title. But the XFL, as we all know, they're kind of doing stuff secretively. You know, I just finally got a hold myself of David Watley. And he's a vice president of player personnel for the XFL. They do stuff a little bit different, as John and as everyone said. The USFL does it a little bit different. CFL does it a little bit different. And the NFL, you know, that's a whole different bird by itself. It's a whole different bird by itself. So they all do stuff. But the IFL is signed with the XFL. And the XFL has signed something with the NFL, the XFL NFL Alumni Academy. Because I just had a couple guys just graduated from there. They just finished a 3-week thing. And they're supposed to be guaranteed an XFL contract. Supposedly. So we'll see. But I know in the USFL, when they had their draft last year, they signed a bunch of guys to contracts. Then when the regular draft and their supplemental draft, they didn't sign all those guys. And what they did, but once you sign with them, they own your property rights. And I'm an attorney as well. And they kept that for about 6 weeks after the supplemental draft. And so I had a couple guys lost out on some CFL opportunities because of that. And finally, I had to call them up and tell them, hey man, either you release them today, within 24 hours, or we're gonna go to court. And I had no problem doing that. And so they had to release them because they're just losing money. They're just losing income. You know, if they don't get paid, I don't get paid. But it's more than just the pay though. It's more than just the pay. It's giving them their opportunity. So.
It's just another opportunity. Not, you know, we're kind of running on time a little bit. Not to, but you know, you can ask these guys questions for a few minutes when we break too.
Cody Clemens, alongside Bruce Boards. I reached out to like 4 or 5 agents, but none really came back. Like, what should I be doing? Just reach out to more guys, or what's that?
Keep doing it. I mean, you know what it is? I'll tell you what you're also up against too, from the agent side. COVID again. The COVID year allowed players to take up another year of eligibility. So you have super seniors. You have guys playing out 6th year, right? So what's happening is your draft classes are huge. There's like double the players. On the flip side of that, because you have alternative leagues, USFL, XFL, and the CFL has always been there. I'm a big proponent of the CFL in terms of careers, etc. There's more opportunities than ever. So with respect, a lot of times, and I think there's less agents now because they've been getting rid of some. So you're applying to that. Don't be deterred if you don't have an agent. So I would keep reaching out. And some of you guys might go through this process without having an agent. Maybe you're able to get into a pro day. I know a lot of times with me, and if I'm looking at prospective players, sometimes the evaluation's not complete, and I need to say, let's stay in touch and talk to me after your pro day. I want to see some of the numbers. And from there, it can open up. So don't be rushed to sign with an agent, number 1. I would say, generally speaking, you probably want to sign with an agent by MLK Day, Martin Luther King Day, kind of within the next 30 days. And then from there, that agent should put into place a plan for you. What's going to happen over the next 3 months, 6 months, a year from now, whatever. But if you don't have an agent, don't worry, just keep trying. And the NFLPA.com website, you can search agents who are certified in your state, where you live, where your school is. So you can kind of go down that list and just maybe fire off an email, phone call, and say, hey, have all your stuff ready. I always ask people now, Twitter's amazing, right? Because they reach out to you in terms of, hey, could you evaluate me? Could you look at this? I ask for basic stuff. Have your film ready, upload it to YouTube, get game films, 3. Long snapper's a little different, okay? So you have kind of a unique path, but also you have a lot of individual specialist combines that you could go there and maybe get an agent after maybe you're the top long snapper who's on his combine, right, in Arizona, just amazing. So you have a different situation. But I would say look at, have your stuff ready. Have a bio, right? A football bio, your career stats, your seasonal, your season stats. Talk about what are your football career goals. Have that film ready. So you know what? Maybe you fire off a bunch of emails, and maybe it's that one agent that gets back to you. You interview that agent, make sure it's the right fit for you, and then maybe you have one moving forward. You know, I never forget something that Ken said on one of these panels. Ken, there was a saying that something you told your daughter about a good man and a bad man. You want to say? I'm going to pass it off to you.
No, well, I've always told my daughter it's now you got me on the spot.
You know, you don't need a manager, right? When it comes to an agent, you don't need it. What did you say? You don't need an agent, but a bad agent will hurt your career.
Yeah, it's better to have no agent than the wrong agent. You know, it's better. You know, I mean, I believe that in just relationships in general. It's better to have no relationship than a bad one. You know, so think about if you're going to go the agent route, think about what you're doing. Don't just say, I like this guy's shirt, or her tie or whatever. So you got to do some digging. And these guys up here, are good. But
don't be desperate to say, I need an agent. I got a son. If you find the right agent, you can go through the process and be late in the process. It helps, obviously. You have an agent to help educate you and guide the course. But don't feel desperate that you have to. If nobody's returning your call, just keep at it.
And I would say stay at it and try to do the process. Talk to your coach. Talk to your coach at your school. You might know some agents. You can also reach out to us. There's maybe 8 or 9 agents, maybe 10 agents that are here this weekend that have guys in the game, right? So that's a good sign, right? Because they'll represent maybe similar type of guy. Reach out to me, shoot me an email. You list the guys that are here. I might know other agents that are looking for players that couldn't be here. That's a resource because not all agents. It's hard work representing the guys from small schools. I mean, we got to be candid. It's not easy. It's not easy for any of you guys. But that's what life is about. Really, life is about persevering. And if you can do it, which you can, because if you're at a small school, it doesn't define the type of person you are, the player you are. The industry might be set up a certain way, but you got to fight. I fought for 13 years. 13 years ago, nobody wanted to come out. Keep it real with you. No scouts wanted to come out. For 13 years, and we fought to get scouts. No other All-Star games around. All right? There was only 3. So when I was an NFL agent and you reached out to an All-Star game, you never even heard back then. You didn't have that horse that was already one of those guys you couldn't play your way in. And in this game, we've been able to do that. I mean, Jake, how many guys have you represented in this game that have gone on to the NFL? A lot.
At least 10.
A lot. I mean, a lot of D2, D3 kids.
D2, D3, and AI.
Yep. So, work.
Yeah.
Work like you do on the field, off the field. That's the key to life. If I can say anything that's the truest thing that I could tell you guys, is life ain't easy. When I was your age, I thought I had it all figured out. Some of you guys probably do that. Life when you're in college is a good life. It's a simple life. But the key is to fight, and just like you guys do on the field. And if you guys do that, what you guys do on the field, in life, you guys are all gonna win. You can't always get somebody else to do what you want to do, right? You can't always get picked by a team. You can't make them take you, but that might not be your blessing. Might not be your route, all right? That might not be your route. 13 years ago, financial crisis, I worked at a top law firm. I'm an attorney in Philadelphia. I got let go. But I had started, luckily, working for Max Preps on the side and doing some sports stuff. And I said, you know what, I got small school guys that just like me, let me help them. It's the best thing happened in my life, me getting fired. You know what I'm saying? So it's important to keep fighting and keep working. All right, maybe one or two more questions and then we're gonna wrap it up. Anybody else got something? How do you submit film, right? What are scouts looking for? Are they looking for highlight film, right? Or are they looking for full games?
Andre Ross, receiver, Union College. What does the actual process for someone who doesn't have an agent look like when looking for a pro day, trying to get a pro day? Like, what does that actually, like, what does that entail? 'Cause I have no idea.
So you're saying if you don't have an agent,
Like
if you don't have an agent through this process, how do you get into a pro day?
Yeah.
It'd be tough. Because I gave you the general rule, right? So now you're gonna have to do the legwork at every school. So Union is in New York, right?
Yeah.
So D3 school, is that the Liberty League?
Yes.
Right. So, for example, Syracuse, Buffalo. Technically also, I was talking to a few clients of mine, you know, Columbia does the New York City Pro Day now where they have Fordham and Wagner and metro area based players. And technically could be eligible for that Columbia, New York City Pro Day. Albany. So you'd have to find all the pro days in your state and go one by one, find out when they're having their day, and communicate with their coaching staff by yourself if you're going to be self-represented or you don't have an agent.
I would lean on your head coach. That's I coached for 15 years and then I was on the scouting side. On the scouting side, we take a lot of what the head coach says. And if the head coach at Syracuse hears from your head coach, he may say, no, we're not going to have this guy. But if he picks up the phone and says, look, can you help this guy out? And if he says yes, fine. But if he may not. But I'm saying, coaches, that's a big relationship thing. The coaches to coaches, especially the head guys. When the head guy calls another head guy, they're sensitive to that. So I'm not saying it's automatic, but to me, that's the best way, John.
And usually that is the best way because as an agent, when you're in a situation where, hey, how do we get you in a pro day? I'm talking to your head coach first. I'm asking you, does your head coach know anybody? So that's the first angle.
First one.
To see, because they're all, like you say, connected. There could be somebody related on the staff. And it could be a school that's open to having outside players. They've had a history. University of Buffalo did it last year. They had some Cortland State guys. They had a whole bunch. Whether or not they're open this year, that's it. But if your head coach has a connection there, that's the route to go. And that applies to anywhere else.
Anybody else? One more.
Francis Benjamin Jr., Southern Utah. I'm Kenyan, by the way.
You on YouTube?
Yes. I don't think like your film. You just put on YouTube. How does that always
I think the best way, there's all different formats that you can use. I think the best way if you're trying to, again, self-represented or you don't have an agent, you're trying to pick an agent, I can only tell you what I like, at least initially. The teams have access to all your film in terms of game film, and they should. I would say this, create a career highlight film. That's what I want to see, but the scouts and the teams, they want to see game films. 3 of your best game films, whichever side of the ball that you play, those cuts only, so offensive cuts only or defensive cuts only. Upload to YouTube so you have everything ready. Either if you're talking to a scout independently, right, yeah, I set up this, I can do this, or you get it to an agent and then he or she takes it from there. But the best way, if you're kind of going through the process first, just upload to YouTube, I think, although you could have the Google Docs video, there's a lot of different formats, right? But that's just my way.
And real quick, Brett, can I put you on the spot real quick? Because we're about to wrap up.
I don't know, Mike.
No? All right.
I can't. I'm just
Brett Morgan, scout with the CFL Calgary team, also has an organization called All 22. So I'm going to give you a plug.
Yeah, appreciate it.
We have a partnership. Just real quick, you guys work with international pro leagues,
Yeah, guys, so obviously as part of my CFL responsibilities, the global landscape became a niche that we had to fill. So we have, in addition to American players, Canadian players, we have global players. And that workflow was difficult because there was not a streamlined process for vetted information, verified data, and the ability to exchange globally to the US. So basically we made it streamlined so that we could provide opportunities for those of you who want to, whether it's the CFL or other places globally, or also global players to come back over. So our organization, all22.org, helps facilitate that. You name it, every team basically globally in the world is on there looking for players. You may not believe or want to go play globally today. I know everybody's going to the NFL, and I hope you do. Okay? But if that doesn't work out, and you're thinking CFL or somewhere else that you want to play professionally and continue to get paid to play an incredible game and have a great experience, we provide that opportunity. So, whether it's CFL or something else, feel free to let me know if you have any questions.
All right. Please give it up for our panel. We appreciate volunteering their time, and I know a lot of guys flew out, so it's a blessing to have it, and we believe in you, and they do. Thank you guys, and all I can say is let's play ball. All the scouting stuff, you know, let's go play some ball. That's it. That's what we all know how to do, right? Let's play ball. All right. See you guys later. Thank you guys.
Thank you.